Something explosive just happened on Capitol Hill, and you can almost hear the panic echoing through the halls of power. Republican lawmakers, desperate to rewrite reality after Donald Trump's historic conviction in New York, tried to spin a narrative that the justice system itself is somehow corrupt. But in the middle of that political theater, Representative Jasmine Crockett stepped in and tore the whole argument apart piece by piece. While Republicans ranted about crime in New York and pushed conspiracy theories about the courts, Crockett calmly exposed the facts they clearly hoped the public wouldn't notice. Crime in New York is actually going down. Congress does not run criminal trials, and Trump's conviction didn't come from politics. It came from a lawful process that every American defendant faces: investigation, grand jury indictment, trial, and finally a jury of ordinary citizens delivering a verdict, guilty on 34 counts. Yet instead of accepting the rule of law, some politicians are scrambling, attacking judges, smearing prosecutors, and trying to bully the system because the outcome didn't go their way. The truth is simple. If Trump believes the verdict was wrong, the Constitution already provides the answer: appeal it in court. But that's not what we're seeing. What we're seeing is political damage control, frantic excuses, and a desperate attempt to undermine the justice system itself. And in the clip you're about to watch, Jasmine Crockett doesn't just push back. She absolutely dismantles the narrative in real time. The exchange is fiery, the facts are brutal, and the reaction from the other side tells you everything you need to know. So make sure you watch this entire clip, because the moment Crockett lays out the truth, the room goes silent. And before we dive in, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the moments that powerful politicians hope you'll never see.
Chair recognizes Ms. Crockett.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. It's the faux outrage for me. It's as faux news that I'm hearing, because somehow you guys, and when I say you guys, I am referring to my Republican colleagues, pretend as if you are the heroes of the story. But let me remind you who set the House on fire. It was y'all. So let me go ahead and handle these receipts, because I know that I always have to have proof, even though I guess our education system is failing us, because it seems like facts don't seem to faze people that vote for y'all. But I'm going to do it anyway. So when we talk about debt, I'd ask for unanimous consent to enter into a record this article that says Donald Trump built a national debt so big, even before the pandemic, that it'll weigh down the economy for years.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you so much. In fact, it talked about the fact that he ran up our debt almost $8 trillion. It was estimated to be $7.8 trillion at that time. And this is it's actually the third biggest increase ever under any presidential administration. So I don't understand how y'all gonna play the heroes. I also want to just kind of be clear about some basic level setting of civics, because it seems like civics is evading us. And listen, Governor, I actually appreciate you. I know that in today's times, for whatever reason, if you got a D or an R in front of your name, it has to be all hostile. Listen, I am a former business owner. If I was not sitting in this seat, I would still have my law firm, but you know, we have rules, right? So I'm not allowed to practice law. I'm not allowed to do a lot of other things, because ethics decides that that's not really a good thing, to make sure that the American people can trust that I don't have any divided interest. In fact, we do that for people that run our treasury typically. So I'm curious to know if you have an elected treasurer in your state. And you do, actually.
We do.
I know you do, because I looked him up. And I'm curious to know. So it's my guess that he's the one that actually controls all of the treasury systems that you have, correct?
Some of the investments.
He controls some of the investments, but also monies that need to be disseminated by the state, that's done by him, correct?
Department of Management and the Treasurer's Office.
Okay. In the Treasurer's Office.
Two separate agencies.
Okay. But you have an agency that does that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And as you are having this agency do that, these are people that have some sort of ethics that they have to follow, I'm sure. I'm going out on a limb, because I don't know how anything works in Iowa. I'm just being honest with you.
Yes.
Okay. Here is the deal. I want the American people to understand that Democrats are not against efficiency. In fact, the last time that this country actually ran to the extent that there was a balanced budget and actually there was a surplus, it was a Democrat in the White House. His name was President Clinton. So we are not against this. What we are against is this idea that we will evade the Constitution or we will evade our own constitutional. In fact, it's not even an invasion. At this point, it feels as if y'all have just decided that y'all are going to castrate your constitutional duty and hand it over to someone who is unelected. It doesn't matter how many cheerleaders he had on the field campaigning for him. That doesn't mean that he gets to go in and sit atop any of our agencies. And the fact that we had a vote today and we asked to bring him in because we have a constitutional duty, we all took our oath, and maybe some of y'all just don't take it seriously. But I take it seriously when I take an oath to do a job, and my job is to look out and make sure that we don't have any kings or queens in this country. But it seems like y'all have decided that it's going to be Mr. King and his queen, and y'all can pick which one is which. But either way, I want to also talk about Governor. I'm curious to know if you know the answers to these questions. Which party controls the White House?
Republican.
Which party controls the Senate?
Republican.
Which party controls the House?
Republican.
Is that about what the makeup is in Iowa?
Yes.
And that has allowed you to be able to get your agenda across, correct?
Yes.
And you haven't had to bring in somebody to basically usurp any types of norms because you worked through the process, correct?
Well, I did executive orders,
Yes or no?
2080
Yes or
agreements,
no?
and then
Yes-
went
yes
to the
or no? Because
legislature
we've
as
only
well.
got
It wasn't all of the above.
I'm going to reclaim my time because I
All of
only
the
got so
above.
much time left.
All of the
I
above.
also want to point out that you specifically talked about that you recently had 3 national declarations for disasters, and I want to enter into the record a unanimous consent. Trump moves to abolish FEMA, shift disaster response to states.
Without objection.
And my
so ordered.
final unanimous consent I'd ask says that Mike Johnson's budget plan is at risk of collapse, even though we know that y'all control all 3 levers of government. So if this is what y'all want to do, then go ahead and clean it up and fix it and just go through the process. And honestly, there's nothing that
Order.
we will be able to say about it.
Order.
And with that, I will yield.
And let's be honest about what we just witnessed. What happened in that hearing wasn't just a disagreement over politics. It was a full-blown attempt to rewrite reality. Instead of accepting the basic fact that the American justice system followed its own rules, certain politicians decided the only strategy left was to shout, distort, and hope the public wouldn't notice. But the problem for them is simple. The facts are stubborn. A prosecutor brought a case. A grand jury of citizens approved the charges. A trial took place in a court of law. Evidence was presented. And another jury of ordinary Americans reached a verdict, guilty on 34 counts. That is not a conspiracy. That is how the justice system works in the United States. And when Jasmine Crockett laid that out step by step, you could practically feel the political theater collapsing around the people who had been trying so hard to undermine it. Because when the facts are spoken out loud, the panic becomes obvious. The deflection gets louder, the excuses get more desperate, and the attacks on the justice system get uglier. That should concern every American who actually believes in the rule of law. No politician, not a president, not a billionaire, not anyone with power, gets to bully the court simply because they didn't like the outcome of a trial. That's not democracy. That's intimidation. And exposing it is exactly why conversations like this matter. So if you believe the truth should be louder than political spin, if you believe powerful people should be held accountable instead of protected by propaganda, then help this message reach more people. Hit the like button so this video spreads across the platform. Share it with anyone who needs to see what really happened in that hearing. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next time the facts cut straight through the noise.